Comedy Raconteur, we do tell a lot of rise and fall stories, stories of hustlers and dreamers and schemers. It's usually the American dream by any means necessary. Deen family isn't that far off. Smuggled a lot less drugs than some of the people that I've interviewed in the past. Certainly murdered fewer people than interview subjects I'm accustomed to, but somehow more controversial, which has been a surreal experience for me on this one. But honestly, when I thought of it initially as like, oh, this is a celebrity scandal story. It's a nostalgic archive jaunt through the 2000s and the 2010s. I didn't know that it was going to be much more. To be fair, I wasn't paying very close attention to Paula Deen in the 2000s and the 2010s, and so I didn't know a lot about her. And I was aware of the scandal, but I was aware of her because she had been more than Food Network famous. She had sort of penetrated the pop cultural zeitgeist in a way that she was so ubiquitous that I was aware of her without even trying to be contemporaneously. So when I got this opportunity, I was like, well, this is interesting, but I wasn't convinced until I met Paula with her sons. And then I was like, oh, this is really interesting because this is a story about not just a celebrity scandal, but a family that survived the scandal. And maybe this would be a little more internal and less external than we tend to tell.
The reason I was really happy to see this happen was because I have no interest in trying to convince you whether I'm a racist or not, because I know who I am and what I am. But the truth, the whole truth, was very, very important for somebody to be willing to dig and investigate. And Billy was willing to do that.
Well, I've been very fortunate that Mom has sacrificed so much for Bobby and I through our business, and has always been a leader in our family and just a great person. And it was a really tough time for us. And now all this time later, Mom had the opportunity to tell the story that she wanted to tell. And my thoughts to Mom were, I love you and I support you, but I don't know if you're going to get from this documentary what you hope to get. And she said, son, I just want a chance to speak about it, which we really didn't get. Mom didn't get 12 years ago. So for me, it's the support for Mom. And when all this, I just asked my mother, I said, please keep me abreast of the film, because my brother and I have 3 children apiece. We're very busy. We operate our business in Savannah. I said, just on this project, let me know what's happening. And when we got the list of directors that was submitted very early, I saw Billy Corben's name on the list. And I'm familiar with Billy's work and how dogged he is in his research and just the search for the truth. And I told Mom, Billy Corben is your guy. He is a truth seeker. If we have the opportunity to work with Billy, he will be dogged for us, trying to determine where it started. And Billy had told us initially, he said, if you tell me the truth, this is going to be a lot of fun. And we obviously don't have problems telling the truth. So we were very upfront with Billy, and I'd given him every resource that I'd had collected over the past years. And it's really an honor to be able to work with Billy on the project. So my mom's getting something out of it, and I'm getting something out of it. I get to watch Billy work, which is fun for me.
And I'm going to have to take exception to something that Paula said, though. I don't think that this is the story that Paula wanted to tell. This is a story that I wanted to tell. Final cut. I have final cut. Yeah. That was a deal breaker going in on this for me. There's a subgenre of hagiography documentaries that are being made now that are being produced by the people who are in them, that's its own thing. It's an autobiography. That's fine, but that's not what I was interested in doing here. And I'm certain that if Paula had seen the movie any earlier than a week ago, that maybe she would have had some different notes or ideas. But that's not how this worked. And that's, I think, what Bobby was worried about. And you still haven't seen it, have you?
No, I purposely haven't seen it. I was waiting, to come here and see it in the moment.
In a room full of people?
A room full of people, which is very brave of me. I had reservations about doing the documentary, not because I was afraid of, what might come to light or what Billy might unearth and put in the film, because I felt like everything, we had been so exposed, already. I just didn't see it being worth the risk, ripping that Band-Aid off again, something that had happened so long ago. And why would we rehash it? I mean, we survived it once, but everything that we've done as a family. So whatever my mom is going to go through, I'm going to be here and go through it with her, for better or worse. So.
I thought that was so intriguing because I don't know that would be true in my family. And I think it's probably true of a lot of families if people went to their siblings or their loved ones and said, like, someone's making a documentary about me and like the worst time in my life. Will you do an interview for it? I'm like, go yourself. I mean, like, and I've had that. I've had that in interviews where the participation of family I felt was integral. And they just, I pursued it for a year and either it happened or it didn't.
It's so funny because I was taken to New York City in one of the tallest buildings in Manhattan, and I was taken up there and introduced to two men that I think they were supposed to be crisis managers. They said, you need to apologize. And it always confused me because I didn't understand what I was supposed to or who I was supposed to apologize to. And that was a forced apology. And they said it didn't seem real. It didn't seem like you meant it. Do it again. Do it again. And I just did not understand who was I supposed to say, I'm sorry to my husband at the time, or I just didn't understand. I'm very naive. And that's one of my qualities that I really don't like, that I'm so naive and trusting.
I don't think we're going to solve it in a 100-minute documentary either. I think a lot of documentaries at their best are the start of a conversation or a series of conversations rather than being the totality of that conversation. And so I think that this opens up a lot of cans of worms that it doesn't necessarily close. And my wife mentioned to me, she goes, it was so interesting? The bathroom line after the screening the other night. Just people talking about the movie in line at the back. She's like, the conversations were just absolutely fascinating with people reacting to, and it's a bit of a Rorschach because the goal of the piece is not to change people's opinions. It's to allow them or help them develop an informed opinion based on the facts. I don't really care what people think of Paula Deen, all due respect. Like if they feel that she's a racist, so be it. But at least they form that opinion based on what happened and not what struck me is there's almost this Mandela effect of people misremembering the scandal and what the content of it was. And that was part of what made me intrigued as well. The idea of being able to maybe to turn conventional wisdom on its head a bit by creating a better understanding. If you think the punishment fit the crime, so be it. But I wanted to make sure that conversation was a part of this. I'm not going to make excuses, but perhaps by way of explanation. And again, Paul, I'm going to have to talk about her like she's not sitting right here. But here's a woman who has a high school education, who was born 18 years prior to the passage of the Civil Rights Act, who in her senior year watched her high school get integrated, and somehow. And I'll tell you, a woman of a certain age from a certain place, you're going to ask her nuanced questions about the history of the civil rights movement or the contemporary race relations in the American South. You're going to get some cringe answers sometimes. I'm sorry. It's just talking to grandparents. You will get that. It's not always artful. It's up to the audience to decide whether that makes her a hateful person if they want to judge her by artless remarks or her use of words or by her deeds and her actions towards people.
What I hope people will see in this documentary is the full story as Billy found it. That's all I want. Just the full story.
That was a remarkable story. Thank you so much.
It's been amazing because all this started with $200 with the three of us. We had $200 to our name, and when we started our business. That in itself is an amazing story that we were able to do that. And I've always felt like it was my job when I was addressing women in big groups. I've been on stage before thousands of people. I just want to leave these women with a message that if they want something badly enough and you're willing to work for it, follow your dream, go after it. Because in America, anything can happen.